As much as possible. Hey, the worst struggle things are possible, but we are squad.
Okay.
Right. So this is episode 1, Gan.
Imagine.
Okay, so welcome to episode 1 of my podcast, Boys Don't Cry. My name is Lucid, and this is my first guest. Introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Yawane Kwekwe. Yeah, I'm here to help Lucid with this podcast.
See, that wasn't difficult. Well, you nailed it. That's fine. Okay, so I have 3 questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
And all 3 questions have sort of follow-up questions, but depending on how you answer the main questions, right?
Aye.
And yeah, so the name of the podcast is Boys Don't Cry. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you heard the or phrase or whatever, Boys Don't Cry?
The first thing that came to my mind,
Yeah.
like, why is it that boys don't cry? Or why is it weird that boys can cry? I mean, we're all women, so I don't get why there's even that phrase that boys don't cry or men shouldn't cry, because we're all human beings at the end of the day, and we have emotions too. So we feel like any other human being can feel. So the first thing that came to mind was why it even exists in the first place.
Why do you think I call the podcast Boys Don't Cry?
Why I think you called it that?
Mm.
I think it's because of the stereotype that men shouldn't cry. Like, men are tough, boys are raised to be, I don't know, I think it's like we don't have feelings or whatever, or if you cry you come out to be weak. So I think you called it that because you want to break that stereotype about boys shouldn't cry. I mean, I think you are trying to make it okay for boys to cry, for boys to feel. That's what I think.
Okay. Alright. So okay, I feel like that's okay. The second question is something that is going to be a bit more difficult for you to answer, but I feel like just feel free if you don't want to answer it, which I hope is not the case.
You're already pressuring me.
I'm sorry, you don't want to. But I'm asking this question because okay, I'm going to say this so that you feel a little bit more at ease answering the question. I think you know when was the last time I cried.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So on that day when that happened, I think it's obvious that it was tears of joy. It wasn't necessarily tears of somebody who was under stress or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I realized that the last time I cried before that was, I think, maybe 3 years ago. And that time I was crying because I was overwhelmed. And I think it was by anger, because it was when me and my dad had an altercation that almost went physical, I think. But the thing about it is, I realized that within that space, there were so many times I wanted to cry, and I don't know how else to describe it except for saying I wanted to cry because I think I felt sad. But it didn't happen. I didn't know how to just let it happen. If I needed to do something to make sure it happens, if I needed like an aid of some sort.
Yeah.
So the next question, and feel free to answer this any way that you want to ask, but is, when was the last time you cried? And when that happened, why were you crying?
Let me think about it.
Okay.
It wasn't like a long time ago. I don't know if it was 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks ago. And I wasn't crying because I was sad. I don't know, I wasn't sad.